Hello guys, and welcome back to David's R&R. Before we get into today's video, I want to introduce myself since this is my first video on YouTube. I am yours truly, David. I am a 16-year-old high school mechanic. I live in Iowa, and so I do rebuild engines and machinery and stuff. So yeah, you get to enjoy the adventures that I encounter. And today just so happens to be this 60s, 70s, no, it's a 70s Homelite XL chainsaw. And I've been working on this thing for a while. I got it running, but today we're going to redo fuel lines. Finally got some duckbill valves from good old China, you know. We're going to be fixing this thing up, rebuilding it, getting oil to actually pump to the bar, and get this thing up and running again and return it to use. So enjoy. Alright, so let's start on this chainsaw here. Finally got our duckbill valves in from China, like I said before. We got fuel line. We do have some new fuel caps somewhere, probably over there on top of the shelf. We have a new air filter we're going to be installing, and a lot more. So let's get into it. Let's get this. Do not know what ball bearing's doing over here. Alright, let's get off this old line I tried to get together. This was the mingled together fuel oil line I had for testing, and it worked for testing, but no. Gotta put in the right stuff. And then there's our oil filter. Small little part. Everything's small in this chainsaw. Oh, I almost lost that. Caught it. Alrighty. Might have to file this down a little bit. Accommodate our new line. We'll see. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm gonna have to. Alright. Get something I can file this down with. Here. Don't do this, but it's an old file. It's okay. You go file this down in the vise. I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm gonna ground the mushroom top off our oil filter here, and I managed to get our hose fitted on there. That was a pain in the butt, by the way. Now it's time to never cut the line until you know how long it should be. So, put your line in your tank. See if I can feed it through here easy or not. It may not want to cooperate with me. Seems to kind of be a trend around here. Now, let's see if I can use a little trick I learned. Alright, stick the piece of wire here. Stick a piece of wire here into the end of your line. It won't damage it if you do it correctly. Take it, and get a little bend there in the wire to make it so it feeds that through there just fine. So add a little bit of a bend to it. And then, there you go. See that? See that? You put a bend, take this out, put a bend in your wire, stick a wire on the end, put a bend in it, go through there, do that, pull on it a little bit. Well, it came out, but if you do it correctly, it won't come out now. If you do it correctly, voila. Do that correctly, you stick that wire in there and you bend it, you can get a wire in almost anything. Well, you can get that fuel line in almost, that fuel oil, whatever kind of line you got, into almost anything. Make sure it's getting way, way back there, in the very back parts of the oil container. Make sure about that. Make sure it's still on there. It is. I'm going to give it a... Make sure we have more than enough. Now this one goes up to the bar, I believe. So it needs to be about that long. Cut it right about there. Alright. Now we have to pull off this old line. Again, another one I tried to put together. Just don't do it. Don't, unless you're really just trying to get something to pop off for you. Don't do it. So we got that old line off. We got all the old lines off. These oil lines are the hardest to run. So, just to let you all know, they are the hardest to run on this chainsaw. The line is super easy to put on this thing. Now, we take out our exciting package from China, our duckbill valves. You realize how long these things took? Over a month to get here. These duckbill valves in. Press that duckbill valve in all the way onto the end of that fuel line. It's gotta be on there good. Now see this duckbill valve here, what it does, you have this is a crankcase inlet, so you have pressure coming out of your crankcase into the line. And if it's just in this open line, it's not enough to pressurize this tank. So they put this on here, and it's got, I don't know if this will focus for me or not. Maybe it'll focus. Please focus. Will it focus? I don't know if it'll focus. Wait, oh, just did. But there's a little slit. You can see it in the light. If I do it right, there's a little slit in there. Maybe you can, maybe. It's not really wanting to focus on it too much. But there is a little slit. There you go, you can kind of see it. It's really blurry right now. A little slit there. Instead of the air coming out of this open end of the hose here, it comes out of that slit, and it's a lot more pressure to get the air through there. So the air can then pressurize the tank, and then the pressure goes in here into the tank, gets pressurized, and then it shoots oil out through this hose to the bar, which, get the bar over here. So that's how that works. Now we have our lines installed. Let's get our tank to carefully slide in. If I can just get it to go above the flywheel here. Alright, set it in there. Beautiful. I am going to use that same wire that we used before. I'm going to stick it in here. And I'm just going to carefully rotate my wire in the edge of this. And you may wonder what I'm doing. I'm making it so I can stretch the wire out. Not the wire, I mean the line out. So it will fit over that nipple. This is the right size line. This is a matter of, you gotta stretch. So, gotta stretch it over the nipple. Alright. Let me see if I have anything bigger to shove in here. Use the end of the file. Totally the right file to use for taking a mushroom top off. Guys, actually do not use a chainsaw file. This is like a, hey, I have nothing else in my shop kind of thing. I can't do it on camera, guys. Let me turn off the camera and I'll come back and I'll see you when I get these oil lines on. Alright guys, after a lot of struggle, about 50 curse words and smell oil grease, I finally got the fuel line on. Turns out my first statement I said in the video is wrong. This is the wrong size fuel line, but we're making it work. I had to put, I don't know if you can see that, I had to put a line with my fuel line instead of another little line to make it go on the nipples. Who knows if it'll even pressurize the tank right because the line's the wrong size, but we're going to give it a shot no matter what. So all we have to do now is just the fuel line. And we have our fuel tank here. We have our oil tank here. My does not work. That's really stiff. Good thing I didn't use that. I'll probably end up using this, or I'll use this piece off my old section. Yeah, I know. Splicing more stuff together, isn't that fun? So now I need to do a fuel line, which good thing I bought 2 feet, but in a way not, because you know that stuff happens. So looks like it almost wants to go right in there, which is good. With my homemade, it's totally legit. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, don't do this. My homemade line widener, 30,000. Widens fuel and oil lines. No, don't do that. This is not what these files are meant to do. Alright. So, take our line. See if that wallowed it out just enough. Alright, again, just like on the oil lines, I'll be back when I can get these lines on there, fitted, and yeah, we'll get into some of the good stuff here. Alrighty, let's go. Alright guys, it's about half an hour later. Finally got all the fuel lines on. I don't know if this is going to work because the fuel line might be too small. It might not even pressurize the tank. But I decided to give it a shot just for content. All the fuel lines are in. Like I said, about 100 more test words later. And now we are about to, if I can find it, install. Voila, we have an air filter. New air filter. This is the original air filter, most likely. Old, new, old. It's a huge difference. Replace your air filters. Alright, so let's set that in there. There's a little metal piece here. It's got to be on there, else this chainsaw will literally suck in the air filter. It'll suck it in. First things first, let's get our engine secured back into the base because I had to unsecure it. You have to take the engine bolts. Oh, that's that also. That'll do your tip. Get your bolts in the container. It's a huge help. snug these down. You don't need to be some kind of sumo wrestler or something like that. Arm wrestler guy out here. Just gotta tighten them. Don't need to wrestle them. Now, see how that nice and secure in there now? Make sure you tuck your wires away so they don't get damaged when you put the pull cover on top. But before we do any of that, get your spark plug in there. Plug your spark plug into your spark plug hole. Pretty simple. I used a small. It's a smaller spark plug for these chainsaws. They go in nice. They fit nice. Make sure they're always gappable. Make sure you gap your spark plugs properly. Very important to gap your spark plugs properly. So yeah, gap your plug properly. Never, ever, unless you absolutely have to, thread it in with a wrench first. You'll cross thread it. It will not be good. It will not be a good day for you if you do that. Get my spark plug wrench out. Finally got the right size. Tighten that down. Always, like I said, never, ever tighten the spark plug unless you absolutely have to with a wrench to start with. Always hand tighten and then tighten with the wrench. And then, now that you have your boot through, now that you have your spark plug boot through, put it on. You should hear a snap, like, hold on, I'll do it right that time. You should hear a nice snap whenever you put this on. I don't know if you heard that, but made a little snapping sound. Now we're going to put the pull cover on after we put on our little choke cover. Yeah, I have this. A lot of the time, you'll see guys out here, they will not have this piece, this little choke lever piece, because of it's a little plastic piece. A lot of people will service their chainsaws and they'll forget this, but fortunately, mine has this. Make sure that all the tabs line up properly in here. Make sure it's seated properly, or as good as you can get it. Yeah, it's good enough. Let's go. Don't wash it force to keep the crap out from there. Alright, now take your pull cover here. Make sure you wind it properly. The ropes tend to break on this. I had to redo this one. Slide on your cover. Make sure that your tanks fit together well. So get the pull cover on. We'll put the handle on after we put the bar on. I want to put this bar on first. This is a little bit tricky to do sometimes. There's not really a there is. This is the cutting side. Alright, right here. See this taper? How this tapers off here? It goes at an angle. That's the cutting side, because there's also a notch in there. Don't try to put it on this way, because that's the blunt end, and it will not cut anything. That blunt end, it will not cut anything. Make sure you put it on. Put it on the bar and the chain with the cutting edge going forward. Alrighty. Let's put this on. Oh, forgot to unscrew this. This is your chain tensioner system right here. Just loosen it. Put that on there. And then Gotta install the bar and the chain. Install bar and chain. Get the chain over there, over on the clutch. Make sure everything's aligned. Make sure your chain's making contact. And then I, myself, sorry my big head's getting in the way, isn't it? I like to halfway tension this a little bit. And then there's a plate here, at least mine has it. This is our little guard kind of. And it also, it's a guide and a guard, and it holds the bar guided and down. Put that on there. You'll have in my case is a dimpled washer goes on here, and then you'll have a nut. My tension is a tiny bit more. There we go. It's a little bit slack, but enough that it's not really going to come out of the track. It can't come out of the track. It can't. It's just a little bit slack. No friction. Make sure it's enough to make sure your bar's all the way out or all the way in or whatever. And then tighten the sucker down. Just snug. You can strip this out pretty easy. And there you go. There we go. Alright, now what we gotta do is just put this on, fill this sucker up, and maybe we'll hear her sing. Maybe she'll sing for us. There we go. And voila, she's all done. Pulls good. Voila, all assembled. Put the caps on real quick. Put the caps on. Anyway, now I'm gonna go grab some fuel mix and some chain oil, and let's hear this sucker run. See if she'll throw some oil. Hopefully she does. If not, then I guess we'll just have to redo it again. Cross fingers. Alright guys, chainsaw is all assembled. Now it's time to see if she'll run, and if so, if she will spit out oil with the good old cardboard test. We will point at a cardboard box, see if it spits oil on it. If so, we know it's pumping out oil right. If not, then at least it runs. I know it runs, but let's see if it'll start again. Make sure your choke is on. Let's go! She fired right on up there. Let's not want to idle right now. That's okay. I think I see a problem. But let's go. We got it running. It's close. It does not want to idle. So we're just going to have to keep adjusting. Eventually we'll get there. This thing is spitting oil out of somewhere. Adjusting. I might be doing this wrong, I don't know. I don't really work on Homelights every day. If you want to get this to work correctly, what you're going to have to do is you have to turn this out 1.5 turns. So, here's my finger. If I turned it around like this, it's a half turn. So here to here, half, full. Turn it around 1.5 turns. Half turn, 1 turn, 1.5 turns. Half turn, 1 turn, 1.5 turns. Let's see if that makes this thing run better. Might have to hold it open for a little bit. Let's see if it'll idle after I hold it open for a little bit. So, that's it. I don't know if you can tell, but it is spitting out oil onto the box, and that's how we know that our bar is being oiled at least a little bit. So, we might be able to get this to work with the way it is, but that's my Homelite XL, 70s XL. If you want to see more, leave a comment, like, or subscribe. This is just a tiny little side project I've been working on for a while. Need to get it done. Thought it'd be a good first video. Hope you all have a good day, and catch you in the next one. Hey, it sat there and idled for a second. Maybe.